Okay, so getting 484 LEDs for $5 sounds like a scam, but it's only because I'm not talking about those LEDs, I'm talking about this. And in this case, you not only get almost 500 LEDs for $5, they are already soldered to a PCB and they include the microcontroller as well as a battery, and this together forms a nice looking LED badge. You can get it in 5 different colors and use it to display messages, icons or animations. In the case of the green one, it's a logo of PCBWay because PCBWay is a sponsor of today's video, and if you use the link down in the description, you can get 10 PCBs for free, only paying for shipping, and maybe create something similar. Also, PCBWay is celebrating their 9th anniversary this month, which means that you can get a lot of nice discounts. So happy birthday PCBWay, and let's get back to our badges. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to use those badges and how to create some nice looking animations. As a first step, you need to connect the LED badge to your PC using the provided micro USB cable, and then you need to install and run a dedicated application called BMP Badge LED. If for whatever reason the application starts in Chinese, you need to select this menu item, and then English. The LED badge can store up to 80 different messages, which are those 80 different edit boxes, and you select which of those you want to upload to the LED badge by clicking this select button, and then you simply type in something, for example, hi. You can also click those individual icons, and that will just simply add this icon to the text, so for example like those two, but I think that what's not obvious from this preview is the size of the badge, and that's 44 pixels, which again is not visualized in any way, unfortunately. Then you select what kind of animation you want to use, for example going from left, right, up or down, and then you select the speed, 1 being the slowest and 8 being the fastest. Then to put it on the badge, you simply click the send button, and usually it's a matter of seconds. If you want to have more messages, you can of course check multiple checkboxes and type in other message, so hello for example, and then once you upload it to the badge, you can use the button on the side to switch between those different messages, which is this button on the right side in the middle. So this is the first message and this is the second message. You might have also noticed those colorful bars on the bottom, and they show how much memory is being used for those individual messages. So if I select another message, I can type in something very long, so hello world, this is an LED badge, and you can see that as I type, this bar is getting bigger, meaning that I'm using more of the memory, and I can use the scroll bar to see the whole message, and if I set the animation to be from the left side, it will actually show me the whole message, and I can preview this message, but it's not very obvious. I have to click this auto button next to the font, and here I can click the preview button, and it will show me the preview of this message, how this will be animated on the badge itself. At any time I can stop it and maybe change something, so if I click the OK button and change the animation going from the right side, again previewing it, now it will be running from the left side to the right side. There is one more way how you can set the message, and that is by drawing those individual pixels, simply by dragging the mouse with the left button being clicked over the canvas, and you can set those individual pixels. If you click with the right mouse button, you will delete those individual pixels, so in this way you can create some interesting animations. Unfortunately, I feel like that this is not the best way to do that, and it's not the easiest thing to do. Thankfully, there is one more way how to do that, and it is by clicking this auto button and then clicking this load image, and you can load a custom image, which you can create in a different tool, and that's exactly what we will be doing today. And we will be using a tool called Piskels, which is a free online sprite editor. So in here, I will click this resize button and change the size of our canvas to be 44 by 11 pixels, which is the number of individual LEDs on the LED badge. Click the resize button, and so now this is our canvas. In here, I'll set the pencil tool and set the foreground color to be white and keep the background color to transparent. I will be drawing with the white color, and if I use the right mouse button, I will be drawing with the transparent one, pretty much erasing my creation. So let's do something simple, for example drawing something that might look like the hello message, so H, E, 2 L's and O, and maybe the exclamation mark, and I will click this button that will align the image to the center, and then I need to export it. But before I do that, I will click the save button and maybe give it some meaningful name, and then click the export button and export it as a GIF file, so clicking this download button, and that should export me the GIF animation even when we only have one frame. Back in the BMP badge application, I will create a new file, and for the first message, I will click the select checkbox and click the auto button and use the load image to load our GIF image, which is this one, so click the open, and we should see content in the preview. Click the OK button to close those settings, and I will set the show mode to be freeze, which pretty much means don't animate this at all, and click the send button, and we should see the same message or same text displayed on our badge. However, it will be only displayed for a few seconds, because if you have it connected to the power, it will show you this charging animation, so if you want to see the message for a longer time, you have to disconnect it from the power. Now let's try to add some animation, and we will start with the simplest possible one. So I can add a new frame, but what I will most likely do is I'll just copy this keyframe, clicking this duplicate this frame. And for the second one, let's select a line tool and just, get some random lines in here. maybe something like this. And you should immediately see an animation going on the right side, so I can lower the number of keyframes to make it playing a little bit slower. And let's see if we can replicate this animation on the badge itself. So again, clicking the export button and exporting this as a GIF file, then clicking this auto button, clicking the load image and selecting the new image. And you can see that we have now multiple images, and if I click the send button, I should see the animation on the badge itself. Again, I have disconnected from the power after uploading, so I can see the animation playing all the time. Also, this is the default animation speed, which is a value 4. If I want to see the preview inside the application, I need to change the show mode from freeze to animation, and then I can click the auto button and click the preview, and it should show me the preview of how this will look like on the actual badge, although it's showing one extra empty keyframe which is not there. So I think that we can go back to the Piskels application and create some animation with more frames. I will actually delete this frame by clicking this trash bin icon, and what I want to do is to reveal this text in a way that it's being hand-drawn. It should somehow simulate the handwriting, and instead of revealing the text, I will actually start deleting parts of the text and then play the animation backwards. Unfortunately, there is no way how to reverse the frame order, so what I will do is I will click the duplicate this frame, and then I will click this previous one, and from that one I will delete some parts, so select the pen tool and maybe delete this part. Now you can see that those pixels are semi-transparent, and that's because this onion tool is enabled, so it shows us the content of the previous and next frame. I probably don't need it, so I can just unclick this one and then continue like this with the other frames. So click the duplicate this frame button, select the previous frame and maybe delete this part by clicking with the right button on the mouse and continue like this. So again, duplicate this frame, select the previous one and delete the last part of the exclamation mark. And so now when I look at the preview, it looks like that the exclamation mark is actually being hand drawn. And I will use the very same process also for the other characters, but I will just speed it up a little bit. And here you have the whole animation consisting of about 20 different frames trying to simulate the handwriting of this message. Again, you can see the preview on the right side and you can adjust the playback speed. I think something around 10 FPS might be matching the speed on the actual badge. Now it's time to export it again by clicking this export button, clicking the download GIF file, selecting the file in the BMP badge application, and then hopefully seeing the preview up here, which seems to be the case. So I can click the send button and upload it on the badge itself. And I probably want to increase the speed from 4 all the way up to 8, so it's animating as fast as possible, and I kind of like the result. If I want the last frame to stay visible for a longer time, I can probably duplicate this frame a few more times. But as you can see down here, the orange bar is quite big, meaning that we take about, I don't know, maybe 30 or so % of the available memory, which means that we cannot have animation with like, 200 frames. We have to keep the number of frames on the reasonable value. If you want, you can make the animation more interesting by adding those extra pixels flying around and following the shape of those individual characters, and that's exactly what I did for the previous animation. For this animation, I've manually scaled the individual characters, so it looks like there is some kind of wave coming in, and it looks like a lot of work, but it's actually only 14 different frames. This one is a mouse cursor drawing a line, and you can actually move pixels by selecting this rectangular selection tool and then selecting something. Then you have to press the shift key to move things around, so it's a little bit different from, for example, like Photoshop. This animation is very similar to the hand-drawn one, except for the fact that those individual characters are not looking like they are being hand-drawn, but I'm using a different font, if I can call it this way, just because there is no text tool in the Piskels application, so you have to draw those individual characters pixel by pixel. But I was using the same technique of deleting parts of the message or deleting parts of those individual characters to get this revealing look. Also, because the badge is 11 pixels tall, I can nicely fit 2 lines of text. Finally, I want to let you know that the animation doesn't have to be super complicated. Something like the 2-frame animation with just characters wiggling around will look nice as well. Let me give you a quick conclusion. I think that those LED badges are great. They are bright and nice looking, and for the price of between $5 to $9 depending on the color of the LEDs, it's a no-brainer. You can display any text, message, animation or icon, and then use the pin on the back or the provided magnet to put it anywhere. The battery life will vary a lot depending on how many pixels are shining, but it should still last many hours. I guess the only downside is the provided application. It's easy to use but not very easy to understand. I mean, the labels are in English, but they don't always make sense. Thankfully, you can import an image or the GIF animation, which means that you can use the online tool Piskels to create those animations, and this is something that I really like. That tool is simple but great. If I open the badge, there is a PCB with those individual LEDs, a battery, and a microcontroller, and it might be nice to use your own code, but I don't know how to do it, at least not yet. So I'm hoping that someone maybe watching this video will know more and maybe share more details about how we can actually put your own stuff on this microcontroller. That would be really great. I've also felt like that the contrast could be a little bit better. Even with the tinted enclosure, sometimes it's hard to read the message. So I've taken the piece of foil that's used for darkening car windows and simply put it inside the enclosure. And I think that this helps a little bit, but I still feel that it could be still a little bit darker. It would probably also help to have the PCB in black color, but I understand that this would also increase the cost. I mean, it's incredible to have all those LEDs, the PCB, the microcontroller and the battery and the enclosure for that money. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please put those down in the comment section. If you have any ideas or suggestions for the next videos, please put those down there as well. Thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you soon. Thanks and bye.